Hi, thank you for joining us today. Do you have a child about to start kindergarten, or do you know someone who does? We have created this presentation just for you. This is the ABCs of Kindergarten presented by Title I. This presentation is an introduction to the expectations and experiences your child will have in kindergarten. This Title I presentation will provide information for your child to have a successful start to kindergarten. We are Kanaheda Elementary School. Thank you for watching.
Welcome. My name is Rosangel Molina, and I am one of the lucky kindergarten teachers at Kanaheda Elementary School. Thank you for your time and willingness to help your child strive in their school journey. Let's look at the following document together. Here is a list of goals that you can have for your child before they start their first year of elementary school. Can your child write his name? Does he know his colors? Can your child identify their shapes, count to 10, know their birthday, and many more presented here on this document. This is a list of things we will go over so that you can better prepare your child and help them feel confident in school. This is the ABCs of kindergarten. Let's begin with the letter A. A is for attendance. A quote I want to share with you is, "Attend today and achieve tomorrow." With this, please take a special note of the attendance policy in the student handbook, which you will be provided before your child begins kindergarten. The student hours are 7:45 a.m. to 2:45 p.m. If your child is absent one day, please send a note with them when they return, including the child's name, your name, the dates the child was absent, and the reason why. This will be beneficial for your teacher to take documentation and excuse your child's absence. Good attendance is being in school every day and showing up on time. Remember, if your child is having breakfast at school, make sure they arrive early. That way they don't miss the first few minutes of school, which your teacher will have expectations for them as soon as they enter their classroom. Every minute counts. Children who miss school often miss out on important lessons and more chances to practice the skills they are learning every day. Kindergarten is not what it used to be before, and we move on with skills quickly in order to cover all the standards throughout the year. That is why every day counts. B is for behavior. Allow your children to have many opportunities at home to practice taking turns, sharing, and expressing their emotions. In school, they will have to share their attention with 17 to 20 or even more children for 1 or 2 adults. Each teacher will have their own behavior management plan, as well as the rules in the Kanaheda and Gwinnett County Public Schools handbooks. We also have the PBIS behavior expectations posted throughout the school. These are expectations that we have for all the children in our building, and every staff is responsible for implementing these expectations. They are: be respectful, be responsible, and be ready. Your child will hear this often, anywhere they are in the building. When the children are on their best behavior, everyone has a better opportunity of learning. As an incentive for good behavior, we give out brag tags throughout the school. If your child is walking quietly in the hallway, if your child is being responsible when they're going to the restroom, if your child is ready to learn in the classroom, they receive a brag tag. At the end of the month, children are able to go to the PBIS store or the brag store where they can buy a gift with the brag tags they have earned for that month. We also have the brain break. The brain break is a moment where the child can interact with other children who have been respectful, responsible, and ready throughout the month. If they have earned 20 to 30 brag tags, they can take some time off to be involved in an activity such as freeze dance or an art and craft. We always make sure it's something fun and help the children be rewarded for their good behavior and motivated to continue that good behavior because they have earned it. But remember, behavior also starts at home. Please talk to your children often about their behavior, the behavior feedback you receive from your teacher. If they are doing great, reward them at home as well. Tell them you are so proud of them. And if you hear any complaints from your teachers, speak up to why that behavior might be occurring. And as partners in your children's education, the parents and the teachers will work together to help the child be successful, not only academically, but also emotionally and socially. C is for curriculum. During reading and math, the children will go to learning stations in kindergarten after each lesson and practice the skills they have just learned and review skills they are still working on mastering. Learning stations might look like play, but it's a way for the children to be involved with one another and the material they have learned and better familiarize themselves with the standards. We tailor each learning station to the needs of the children. And some of these standards that we will be covering for reading are asking and answering questions about key details in text. That means when we read a story, does the child really comprehend what we have read? Identifying the main topic or main idea and retelling key details of the text, making predictions from pictures and titles, identifying parts of the book, like the front cover, back cover, title page, and many more. For math, we will be working on counting to 100 by ones and tens, identifying coins by names and value, adding, subtracting, and much more. For science, we will be working on comparing and sorting objects, which we will talk about a little on how you can prepare your child for this before kindergarten. But in science, we will be focusing mostly on the different materials each object is made of. And we will study also motion, like gravity, push, pull. We will be observing the night and day sky. We will also evaluate the differences between living and non-living organisms. For social studies, we will be discussing where we live. We will talk about customs and celebrations during Labor Day, Columbus Day, Thanksgiving, winter, holidays, and many more. We will also talk about personal finance. As you can see, kindergarten is packed with a lot of learning, and all year long, we have rigorous lessons for your child. Kindergarten is very different from what it was before, and we need your support for making this year a wonderful and successful year, as I've mentioned before. Play is often talked about as if it were a relief from serious learning, but for children, play is serious learning. A quote by Mr. Rogers: "Children do not have the opportunity to play as much in kindergarten, and we have the responsibility of teaching your child all the standards that are required by the state. And we are going to do the best we can to do so." So when you see your child playing in learning stations, or when we give the child a brain break, as we call, it's not going away from the learning that they need, but allowing them to strengthen their brains and grow the child as a whole. Now, for this presentation, I really want to make sure you have the tools you need to prepare your child for kindergarten. And I started this presentation by showing you some of the goals you may have for your child before they enter kindergarten. Maybe your child is so ready and has checked off all these boxes, and that's awesome. We are so excited to meet your child. But it's always good to know where you can start helping your children before kindergarten begins. And I have prepared some videos on activities you can do at home now before kindergarten begins. In the following videos, you will see how you can practice name writing, colors, counting, zipping up your jacket. Things that may seem simple, but if we don't help the children now, it'll be harder once we get to the more difficult standards in kindergarten. So let's begin. Let's see. The first activity I want to present is name writing. This is a video on how you can help your child practice writing their first name. Let's watch. For this name writing activity, I used a dry erase sleeve that I got at the Dollar Tree, but you can also order it online if you don't want to leave your house. And I took a white piece of paper and wrote my daughter's name on it. So you can see it's on the white paper that's inside the sleeve. And this makes this activity reusable, and she can now use it every day. When you write your child's name, remember to capitalize the first letter and use the rest of the letters lowercase. It's important that even though uppercase letters are easier for children to write, that they practice their name how it should be read and written correctly, with the uppercase letter in the beginning and the rest of the letters lowercase. We find that children model what they learn. Therefore, if your child learns to write their name with uppercase letters, it will be hard to break that habit. For this activity, it's very simple. As I demonstrated, you write your child's name on a white piece of paper, put it inside the sleeve, and then get a dry erase marker and have them trace it. For the purpose of the demonstration, I will do it for my daughter. And as your child is tracing the letter, if you are there with them, which would be magnificent, say the letter and maybe even the sound as they trace it. Z, Z, O, E, eh. Great job. And of course, maybe it won't be this perfect at first, but as they practice, they will get better and better. This can be the first try, but as your child gets better at writing their names, take the white piece of paper and write their names several times. That way they have extra practice. Or if they like rainbows, they can try tracing the name with different colors. And open this marker. Sorry, I only have one hand available. Okay. Now I'm going to trace it with a different color. Z, O, E, Zoe. Hope it's helpful. All right, so that was name tracing. And don't worry, if you don't have access to the sleeve, you can just use the white piece of paper, use a highlighter. The importance of the activity is for your child to practice writing their first name. Now, you might be thinking, my child already knows how to write their first name. Well, then let's watch an extension of how your child can practice first and last name, because as we know, it's important for your children to be able to write their whole name, because in school, they'll be having to write their names on every activity they complete. Let's watch this one now for the extension on name writing. This is an extension of the first name writing activity. If your child already knows their first name, you can have them practice their first and last name. Here I took a piece of white paper again and wrote my daughter's first and last name. Then I provided crayons and she can now trace them. I like to call this rainbow writing. Well, we call it rainbow writing in school when we practice it with sight words or any other item we are identifying. You can even challenge your child, as we have seen in some YouTube videos, to close their eyes and pick their colors randomly to make it more interesting. After they have chosen their 3 colors, they can begin tracing. They choose one color, trace their name. It's hard to write when you cannot hold your paper down. That's something you can also instruct your child. Hold the paper down with the hand you're not writing with. And then after using one color, they can take a second color and trace over it again. That's what makes the rainbow effect. Oh, I'm so sorry. I hope you get the point. And as I mentioned before, while your child is tracing each letter, say the letter with them. Z, O, E, Zoe, M, O, L, I, N, A, Molina. Also, remind your child that their first and last name always begin with capital letters, and the rest of the letters are lowercase. While it is important for your child to know all the letters of the alphabet, the letters in their names are the first letters that we can begin teaching, since they are the most meaningful for them. All right, those were 2 activities for name writing. Now let's talk about counting. Counting can be done all throughout the day. You can practice counting going up the stairs, or while you are waiting for your friends or family members to hide, while you're cooking, while you're taking a bath. This is a simple activity that I'd like to try at home or in school as well, and that I want to share with you. Counting to 10. But remember, if your child can count to 10, you challenge them up to where they are currently. If they know how to count to 10, they can count to 20 or 50. I took a white piece of paper and cut it into 4 and wrote numbers on them. You can write numbers 1 through 10. I am going to use oranges to practice counting. You can use grapes, strawberries, toys, anything in your house to practice counting. The way I would do it is take a card, put them in a random order, and say, this is the number 1. Can you count 1 orange? 1. Awesome. Then let's trace the number 1. And the child can trace it with their finger. You can also do an extension of this by having an extra piece of paper, and after tracing the number 1, can you write the number 1 by yourself? Now let's try a different number. Put the orange back, and let's try this number. This is the number 5. Can you get 5 oranges? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 oranges. Now can you trace the number 5? Great. Let's try a different number, and so forth. This is a great activity to practice number recognition, writing numbers, counting, and it's fun. And you can do it with any object that's in your house. I hope it works. Remember, any activity you do with your children, make it fun, because learning is difficult. Us as adults, when we're learning a new language or learning a new skill, we struggle, and children do too. We have to make sure we connect with our children and that we motivate them. That way they are always excited about learning more. The following video is how I help my child, my daughter here, Zoe, is going to present how we work on putting on her jacket. I will warn you that I am not fond of her throwing her jacket on the floor, especially if we're outside, but the goal is for our children to be confident that they can do things on their own. And think about kindergartners. They will be in a group of many children with one adult, and unfortunately, we cannot always do things for them. That's why I thought I should show you how I help my child learn how to put on her jacket on her own. That way she feels autonomous and soon she can do it without putting it on the floor.
All right, Zoe, can you put tag by your toes? Hands in the holes. Over your head. That's how it goes. Awesome job.
As you can see with her smile, she feels proud and she wants to do things on her own. And in school, we do the same thing. We want children to be able to be independent because throughout the day, the teacher will not always be able to support them in every aspect of the classroom. But we will be there. It's just harder to put on a jacket, for example, for 20 children. And that's why I encourage you to help your children learn how to put on their jacket, zip it up, put on their shoes, tie their shoelaces if possible, and dress themselves, things that we won't be able to help them throughout the day. And this last video is just how I help my daughter zip up her jacket. Right now, she cannot put on the first part, but I put it on for her and she zips it up. And you can do the same until your child knows how to do it by themselves.
Now, can you zip up your jacket?
There you go. Finally, we will be talking about colors and sorting. Most children by the age of 4 and 5 know their colors. But if your child does not know their colors yet, don't worry. This is an activity you can try at home to help them.
Sorting and identifying colors are two things your child should be able to do before entering kindergarten. With this activity, we will be practicing both. I will be using colored bears, they're counting bears, Unifix cubes, and a cupcake pan. But if you do not have these, you can use Fruit Loops or pom-poms or cut construction paper into different colored pieces. You can use anything that you have available in your home. I got this in the Dollar Tree, but you can use anything you have in your home. Let's begin. What I do is I start by telling my daughter the color because she knows them now, but in the beginning when we began doing this activity, she did not know them. So we have to explicitly tell our children the colors until they get a hang of it. For example, I will say, this is the color yellow and place it in one of the holes. Can you find another yellow bear? She will find it and place it in there. And then continue with the next color. This is blue. Can you find another blue bear? And after you have mentioned all the colors and placed them in the different spots, you can then give your child the opportunity to sort the colors all on their own. And as the children or the child gets the bears, you can say, oh, you got a yellow one. You found another red one. Wow, now I see 3 blue bears. That way they continuously listen to the colors mentioned as they touch them. And the same could be done with different materials.
Awesome. So that is another color sorting activity. And I hope these activities have been helpful, and remember to make it your own, make it with things that interest your child, make learning fun at all times. Thank you very much for staying with us the whole video and for your dedication in your child's educational journey with us. We look forward to meeting them soon, and I hope you have a great start to kindergarten. Remember, children are great imitators, so give them something great to imitate. Welcome to our family.